Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the Let's Talk Tuesdays podcast. My name is BrendenPlayz. This, of course, is the show where we answer all of your questions that you send in every single week on the BrendenPlayz forums at BrendenPlayz.com/forums, in the YouTube comments section down below, or over at our Facebook page at BrendenPlayz Official. And you can also leave a voicemail by heading to the website BrendenPlayz.com. And by clicking the green button on the right hand side of the page. You can follow the show by listening to us on Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and of course iTunes, where you can download the show, the best way to download the show. And of course you can also listen in on YouTube as well. Well, we're coming off Extreme Rules. It was a pretty, not a bad pay-per-view. I enjoyed it. And a pretty interesting episode of Raw to follow it up as well. It's been a pretty big week in wrestling in terms of a lot of news. Some releases have been happening, and I think WWE just are in a bit of a transition right now. I think right now we might be seeing a lot more releases happening and a lot more names that you probably wouldn't expect being phased out a little bit. So that's going to be our topic of the conversation today. We're also going to talk about everything to do with Extreme Rules, the full pay-per-view breakdown, including the big return of Seth Rollins. We will also kind of catch up with Apollo Crews a little bit. We'll talk more about him after his pretty lackluster return, what they're going to be doing with Apollo Crews. And, we're going to talk about, I suppose right now the WWE is potentially about to get really interesting. So we're going to talk about what's to come with the WWE, with a lot of these injuries, pretty much nearly over. A lot of the injured superstars are returning very, very soon. So we could be really in for a very interesting and exciting next couple of months. At least exciting moments with exciting returns and whatnot. So I think Money in the Bank could be really, really good if all things go to plan. They've got a really good title match set in stone. Looks as though the ladder match should be pretty good as well. So a lot to like there. So we're going to also talk about, speaking of Money in the Bank, we're going to talk about whether or not they'll actually do a women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I don't really see it happening, but we'll talk more about that in detail later on. So this week for me, still doing assignments. My last assignment is due tomorrow, so I'm just about ready to head on to a bit of a break, which is really needed. Really, really needed. Over the weekend, we did the NXT pay-per-view, the NXT TakeOver pay-per-view, I should say, which we had a couple hundred people come along to the show and watch it live, and that was really appreciated. So if that was one of you, thank you very much for coming along. I appreciate that. We finally cracked the code on streaming on multiple services, so YouTube and Twitch. We were streaming both at the same time, and it worked out really well. I guess the only negative towards it is the fact that if you're in the chat, two different chats going on, so you might not be able to kind of get the full gauge of the reactions and the interactions that are happening with the pay-per-view unless you're in both of the chats, which is not really a thing that most people can do. I mean, I could, obviously multiple screens sitting on my computer, but most of you guys are probably going to be watching on your phones, and you just can't do that, unfortunately. But yeah, so the multiple services streaming on both turned out pretty well for me. I think it's probably a thing that I'm going to be looking to do in the future from now on. I think if I can continue to keep it, if I can keep it working, that is. I've had some issues in the past making it work, but if I can get it to work on every different occasion, I think it's something I'm definitely going to do. We get to do it on Twitch, and some people don't really want to go to Twitch or create an account on Twitch. Most people have a YouTube account, and you guys subscribe using YouTube, so obviously you keep up to date with everything to do with BrendenPlayz on YouTube, so it's probably a good thing to kind of have that option. Yes, I know it's better to watch on Twitch, but hey, if you want to watch on Twitch, just head over to Twitch. And if you're happy to watch on YouTube, well, it's right there for me, for you to watch, and you can, you can watch there. And I think, obviously, having it on YouTube benefits me a lot more, so I guess you are supporting the show a little bit better on YouTube, and does support me a little bit better. So, it's certainly something I'll definitely be doing. So if you are interested in kind of wondering why I streamed on both, well, I just wanted to try it out for starters. It was a bit of a late decision just to go for it, the spur of the moment, and it worked out pretty well. So I think in the future, my pay-per-views and all my live streams, actually every single time I stream, I think I'm going to stream on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So you can always catch my streams on either of them. So on YouTube Gaming, obviously, or just whatever it is, however you find it, and on Twitch. So I think that's a good a good strategy for me going forward to kind of grow my overall Twitch audience on both services. What else have we got going on this week? No vlog this week. We didn't really get up too much this week. I do want to do another vlog sometime next week when I have some time to kind of do stuff. Like I said, this week's just been a really lazy, boring week, just kind of doing assignments, just chilling out at home. I did go away for a day on Friday, but we didn't really get up to too much that was really worth vlogging about. So with the vlogs, I think really it's going to be like a once a week kind of deal, if that. Once a couple of weeks. So whenever we get up to doing something, then we'll definitely get around to getting a vlog together. I think that's probably the plan right now. It's something that I think could be a lot of fun. But for now, no vlogs all the time. But the thing is, I just don't really live an interesting life, to be honest with you. If I had a much more interesting life, then maybe I could do some more vlogs. But for me, really, like a day for me will consist of waking up, checking all my YouTube stuff, and maybe playing a bit of games, and then hanging out, and making lunch, and kind of playing with the dog, whatever, and it just watching TV. It's just a bit of a lazy kind of thing. And I obviously do a lot of YouTube work, so I make a lot of videos. I spend a lot of time doing that, and obviously have the website and the forums and all that stuff to do as well. So I guess my days just aren't all that interesting all the time. So that's why daily vlogs just aren't really on the cards yet. I know some people kind of said, it'd be interesting to see, watch you kind of do that, but I don't think it really would be. So I'm not really going to go down that road just yet. But yeah, so really in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be working pretty hard on trying to get Night of Champions done and make that as good as I possibly can. No date on when I'm going to release that. What is it this weekend? Is the 28th. So probably not this weekend, maybe the next weekend. The 4th of June is probably when I might be aiming for a Night of Champions release. Even then, that's probably a little bit too soon. I don't really want to do it the week after that, though. That feels like it's too far away, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. We've got 2 weeks of Universe Mode to get through, so if I can try and do some every single day, and then we'll get there a little bit quicker and try and record Night of Champions a bit earlier. Obviously, last time I did a lot of promos for every match, so I won't be doing that this time because it's not as big as my pay-per-view. Obviously, SummerSlam's a big one, so we won't be doing that much. So maybe I might be able to get it done. Also, I'm definitely thinking about doing a MyCareer mode series. Now, I want to know your feedback right now. Is that something you guys be interested in? So one of my kind of plan right now is just to do a little, maybe like a 5-part episode. I've recorded basically nearly the whole thing already. I'm not sure how long, but just like maybe a 4 or 5, maybe up to 7-part episode, depending how long it goes, on episodes of a career mode. And basically, if you've been watching my streams, you'll know my career mode character, El America. There's also a video on my channel of me creating him. So if you're not aware, you can check that out. Which, by the way, is getting so many views lately. I still have no idea. I'm still bamboozled as to why that's getting views. But anyways. So, yeah. And I'm thinking maybe I might just do a little bit of a small mini-series on his rise to winning the NXT Championship. And if it goes well, people like it. But obviously, I can do like a Season 2 and his rise to the main roster. And starting things off there. And we can do some little mini-series there, or even, turn it into a long series if people do like it. So the plan right now is just to do perhaps a little bit of a mini-series, and I might call it like the story of El America or something like that, and do a little bit of a mini-series, and if people like it, then we'll do it. If not, then, we'll finish it up, and we'll just leave it at that. So I know it's obviously, the game's been out forever. Everyone's seen all the MyCareer footage in the world, but I don't know. I just feel like maybe I can put my own little twist on it and do something a little bit different with it. Nothing outrageous, but just something a little bit different. And because I know a lot of people wanted me to do career mode, and I've kind of been looking around, and I've kind of been, gauging some of my interactions, and I think some people will definitely enjoy it. I did put a poll up my Twitter page, and it was only about 57% said yes, do a career mode. So obviously, a lot of you guys probably don't want to see me do a career mode, so yeah, so maybe I'll probably try and finish up some of my other series, and then maybe we'll will do this career mode. I'm not sure, but I feel like we could do something with it, and I think definitely when the new game comes, 2K17, I will definitely be doing a full career mode series, but I felt as though maybe I can introduce you guys to career mode on my channel a little bit more by doing such a series here, and you guys can kind of expect career mode from me later on, and kind of subscribe to see my career mode as well as, you know, other people's. No, it's just a thought, something I might be thinking about doing anyways. But alrighty, so let's get into Extreme Rules, and we'll kick it off with the Seth Rollins return. I know we're starting from the, you know, from the end to the start again, but Seth Rollins' return. Now, before we get into that, I will say I missed about an hour of the pay-per-view, and not because I wanted to, because obviously I started watching it a little bit later. I tuned in a bit later, so I wasn't watching it live. But it was still on, the pay-per-view was in its final hour when I started watching. And I tried to start it back at the beginning, and it wouldn't let me. It started me just before the asylum match. So I couldn't really watch it, so I had to kind of wait until the whole pay-per-view was done to be able to watch it. But by then, they already did like a recap on all the matches and results, so I kind of felt like it was a little bit pointless. But I did go back and watch a few of them, but such as matches like the Rusev and Kalisto match I didn't watch, the Baron Corbin and Ziggler match I didn't watch. I feel like I'm missing another match in between there. The New Day match, I didn't watch that either, so I think that might be about it. But Seth Rollins is now back, which is a great relief. Seth Rollins, obviously I really wanted him to return as a babyface. I think most of us really did, but it's, you know, he did the big swerve, I suppose. Not really a swerve. I think I kind of felt as though he was going to come back as a heel because of, you know, obviously returning, attacking Reigns. That's a clear sign he was going to be a heel because they're still very adamant on pushing Reigns as the babyface, despite the crowd at Extreme Rules absolutely murdering him out there. It was brutal. Absolutely brutal. Are the chants really warranted? I mean, I don't think so. People saying you can't wrestle when Reigns has had a few pretty good matches already this year. I mean, the only real stinker he's had was with Triple H. But other than that, I mean, his AJ Styles match at Payback was pretty good. And, you know, I think there's a lot to like. I think Reigns has put on some pretty good matches. I think he's certainly not embarrassing himself out there. Now, most probably, let's say, quote unquote, marks are going to say, well, the only reason why I had a good match is because AJ Styles carried him. Well, I don't believe in that at all. I really don't. It's the same philosophy with Cena over the years. Everyone's always said Cena's got 5 moves and fucking everyone who he wrestles carries him. And meanwhile, you could probably count over a couple dozen of great Cena matches over the years. You know, so are we really going to say that, oh, this guy carried this guy? And I don't think so. I mean, I think Reigns holds up his own. I think he does fine. I think he's not a bad wrestler. I think he's just had some really bad booking and some really bad, some pretty bad storylines as well. And obviously, they just use him wrong. The thing is, Roman Reigns doesn't know how to be a babyface, I don't think. I think Roman Reigns is a natural heel. You look at him, and he probably screams heel. He's got that pretty boy, you know, smart, you know, snarky look to him that has a bit of a mean look to him. And then yet they still try and make him a babyface. But anyway, we'll finish this point. I know I was meant to be talking about Seth Rollins, but the reason, you know, with Roman Reigns, I can see why people boo this guy, because we've been given no reason to cheer Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is booked as a babyface, but yet this guy kicks out of every move, and he never loses, ever. He loses a handful of matches. You know, he's lost a handful of matches this year. So babyfaces are meant to get sympathy, and the heels are meant to be the dirty guys doing all these bad things. Whereas Reigns, well, every time a heel comes and attacks him, he just beats them. He just, you know, he'll get the better of them. You know, basically the club has been, well, I wouldn't say ruined or destroyed, but the club has really coming in and had a really weak impact because of Roman Reigns. and getting the better of them. I think Roman Reigns needed to lose to the club. Roman Reigns needed to get beaten up a little bit more by the club and put the club over. But yet the club is kind of, well, now they've, taken AJ Styles away from it. The club's really not looking good at all, is it? So, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Roman Reigns getting booed, I'm a little over it. I think right now it's more of a trend than people legitimately hating Reigns. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people who hate Roman Reigns. There is absolutely. I've never really had an issue with Roman Reigns ever. I still don't. People have, criticized me over that. Is Roman Reigns my favorite? No, he's not. Roman Reigns is probably not even my top 5 at this point. I have slowly started to enjoy him less and less and less. I will admit that, but not to the point where I will change the channel if he's on. It's been more to the point where, I'll probably focus more on someone else. Be more interested in someone else's matches than a Roman Reigns match. Doesn't mean I hate the guy. Doesn't mean I don't respect the guy. Doesn't mean I don't want him to be champion. Doesn't mean any of that. It just means that for me, what they're doing with Roman Reigns, because I really don't care about the Usos at all. So some of the storylines and booking for Reigns I haven't really been that interested in. Doesn't mean Roman Reigns has really been crap to me, but that's just my opinion. I don't have a problem with Reigns at all. I never have, and I probably never will. I've probably always liked Roman Reigns. But anyways, it seems like Rollins is back now. Obviously, he's still a heel, going to be feuding with Reigns. I think that'll be a good feud. I've been looking forward to seeing this for a while now. Will Seth Rollins win the belt? I don't think so. How will it go down? I'm not 100% sure at this point. I think we might be heading towards the beginning of a Stephanie versus Shane McMahon storyline, with potentially Shane McMahon aligning himself with Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins once again realigning himself with Stephanie. Now, even though Stephanie said, no, we don't want anything to do with you, I think eventually that will change and things might go back in the way of, go back to Seth Rollins and Stephanie McMahon with one another again. Seth Rollins being back is obviously a big bolster to the main event scene. It's obviously going to add a little bit more spark and give us something we haven't seen for a while. Obviously, we haven't seen Rollins in a while, and that's some fresh matchups, even though Rollins and Reigns has had plenty of matches. But obviously, AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins is obviously a feud that I think many of us would love to see. I know John Cena's back soon. I mean, Styles and Cena could be interesting. Reigns and Cena could be interesting. Even Rollins and Cena, even though we've seen it a number of times. It's been a while, so I wouldn't be against it, I suppose. But yeah, there's some different storylines and some different feuds for Rollins now, with a few different faces involved. That could be really, really exciting. And I definitely think Rollins being back is a great thing, and obviously will help Reigns, continue on as a champion. But the other problem is Rollins being against Reigns. Rollins is going to get cheered. There's no doubt about that. So it's not really going to help out Reigns. I thought, for me, this is the way I actually thought it could go down. I thought Rollins would come back as a babyface, and you'd have the club kind of stay with AJ Styles, and you'd have AJ Styles do the full-blooded heel turn. Then you'd have the club coming after Rollins and Reigns, and not a full-blown Shield reunion, but like those two just aligning themselves together, which will help Reigns, because people are not going to boo Reigns as much because he's with Rollins, and they're against the club. Could create some different matchups there. It could be kind of exciting, but obviously they're going a different direction. I thought that would have been a better way to kind of get Reigns more cheers and get him over a little bit more. Well, not over, but make the crowd cheer him as a babyface a little bit more with having Rollins there. Obviously, the Usos are not helping us at all because they're just getting booed alongside Roman Reigns. But I thought AJ Styles and Reigns was a pretty good match. I enjoyed it. The only problem really with it was that it was very much Cena-esque. Roman Reigns is really working a lot of Cena's type matches right now, and that's obviously a really bad thing for Roman Reigns, because we've seen Cena do the same thing over the years. Basically, what happens is that he takes finisher, he gets finisher, kicks out of all of it, hits one finisher and wins the match. Basically, that's what Roman Reigns is doing. He could get shot in the head and he would still kick out at two at this point. So it's a problem that Cena's faced over the years, and I think a lot of people resent that. And I think a lot of people are resenting Reigns because he basically is the second coming of John Cena, and it's a problem because they're booking Reigns like Cena when we really want an alternative to Cena. We don't want to see another Cena. We want to move past that and go a different direction. I think this is the big reason why Reigns has, struggled as a babyface, because people are seeing for what's really happening. They're seeing the next John Cena. They're seeing Roman Reigns being booked like a Superman, being booked like he's unbeatable. So Reigns kicking out of a Styles Clash, not once, but twice, including one of a steel chair. Come on, really. It's a little bit ridiculous, and it's not going to help Roman Reigns. They might be thinking, oh my god, he kicked out of this Styles Clash. This guy is so good. He's got a great heart. He never quits. But really, it's just like, wow, this guy, can't lose. He's just an animal. He's just a beast, He's just fucking, never going to, whatever. But, that's really the only thing I've had a problem with. He's had a few Cena-like matches lately, and it's kind of annoying me a little bit, and kind of taken away from, the enjoyment just a little bit. But, they certainly worked hard in that match. They did some nice spots there. Going through a couple of the tables was cool. Against the barricade was pretty cool as well. So, I did like the finish with the spear through midair. It kind of worked for me. It looked good, so I liked it. So, obviously the interferences between the two groups, the Bloodline and the Club being involved, that was to be expected. I think we all knew that was going to happen. Didn't really add much to the match, though. And, but overall, not a bad match. And obviously there was no real concern that with Reigns winning, I think that's always going to happen. I think Reigns, honestly, at this point, the only way he's going to lose the championship will be again to Money in the Bank, and I think it will probably happen later in the year. I think he's going to hold the championship at least until Hell in a Cell. Potentially further, but at least until then. I think he's going to have a very long title reign. Potentially he could go a year. I wouldn't be surprised if Reigns is still champion at WrestleMania next year. Don't be surprised. Honestly, I think he's in for a really, really long run. They gave him a couple of short stints with it last year, and earlier this year, and now he gets the real long run. Potentially a heel turn could happen during the run, but it's unlikely, and I think Reigns will still be a babyface champion, potentially heading into next year's WrestleMania. So, for all you Roman Reigns haters out there, well, it's not going to change anytime soon. I thought the Fatal 4-Way match was great for the Intercontinental Championship. Really, probably the highlight of the show. Really, really good match. I probably need to go back and rewatch it. I feel like I didn't sink it in enough. I didn't probably pay attention enough, but I definitely really enjoyed what I was seeing. I just kind of feel like I don't remember it enough. So maybe I need to go back and watch that again. I know everyone was kind of praising how great it was. So kudos to everyone. Again, another issue that I probably have is that, well, all the praise for this match is probably going to go towards Cesaro, Owens, and Zayn. And someone like The Miz, who put on a pretty good performance, might be, left no praise going his way. Kind of, flying under the radar a little bit. So I think it's important that we kind of praise all four men in the match, not just, oh yeah, well Cesaro was great, and the rest of them were just okay. Just say, look, the match was great, and say, yeah, everyone in the match was good. Everyone did their part. Everyone was very good. So I think it's kind of important to kind of praise everyone. If we're going to give someone praise for a great match, give both guys the praise. Not just one. That's what I'm saying. The Asylum match was certainly interesting. Obviously, it felt like it was pretty drawn out, pretty long match. The weapons and things used was okay. I mean, Chris Jericho using the barbed wire bat, basically just, I mean, it's like hitting like a 3-year-old with with something like, he just gently tapped him with it, didn't he? He didn't even really hit him that hard at all. Just kind of a gentle tap, just enough force behind it. And Ambrose sold it like he got, hit by a truck in the back. But they wanted to use it just to use everything, and I don't think it would have really hurt that much. And really, there probably wasn't much barbed wire on it anyway. It's probably just enough to really satisfy and be able to call it a barbed wire. 2x4. The big moment in the match was when Jericho went into the thumbtacks, which was a nice surprise, and I think that was a really cool moment. It was nice to see the thumbtacks again. I think Jericho said on Twitter it might have been 63 thumbtacks that was pulled out of him. think it's something in the 60s. So that's obviously pretty cool, and Jericho took that like a trooper, and I think Ambrose had a couple in him as well, and he was in pain. Jericho in a lot of pain, so they hurt. And that's just, imagine just a thumbtack, if you're gaming, I'll put a thumbtack in you right now, just one, and I'm sure it hurts. Just imagine 63. And, that's crazy. So it was a cool moment, and kind of saved the match a little bit, to be honest with you. I think the rest of it was kind of a little bit lackluster, so they really needed that. Dana Brooke has aligned herself with Charlotte. I don't like it. I think this is a really odd pairing. A really shitty finish, again, to the Extreme Rules Extreme Rules match between Natalya and Charlotte. And by the way, Natalya, please, that was awful. The way she was selling any submission. No. I mean, come on. It was so annoying and so bad. Really, really bad. Sorry, Natalya, that was awful. But yes, Dana Brooke coming out with Charlotte, I just feel like it's not necessary. I feel like Charlotte is doing great by herself. Now, obviously, with Ric Flair doing the split, we'll talk more about that in a moment. Why Dana Brooke? I think, obviously, the plan was to have Dana Brooke with Emma. That didn't work out. And then now they're kind of like, going, holy shit, we can't have Dana Brooke by herself. She's not quite ready for that, which is definitely true. Dana Brooke just looks awkward out there, doesn't she? Just feels like she doesn't belong, doesn't fit in. Just feels awkward. And having her with Charlotte, I mean, it's like, why? What is she going to do with Charlotte? She's not going to help Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte looks bigger, stronger, and tougher. Well, not stronger, but, looks bigger and badder than Dana Brooke. And now they've got Dana Brooke with her. It's just like, well, Dana Brooke's Charlotte's bitch. That's really all it is. And if that's going to be the case, then fair enough. She's just going to be like worshipping the champion and doing everything that she asks, and kind of like, getting her coffee and getting the car ready for her and all this stupid shit. If that's the case and she's basically her servant, then fair enough. But if not, then I don't see how this is going to work. She can't be Charlotte's bodyguard because Charlotte's far bigger than her, and it wouldn't make any sense. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with the pairing. It just feels like it's not a good idea. Just a rash decision by creative to try and have Charlotte with someone. I don't know why they just didn't. I don't know. Who could they get? I mean, just kind of forget about it. Just put her back in NXT, honestly. Just wait till Emma's back. Or just have her go by herself. I don't know. But obviously they see something in Dana Brooke and they want to do something with her. But, the plans unfortunately didn't happen. So, and finally on Extreme Rules, the other thing I want to talk about is Rusev winning the US title. Now, obviously I didn't see the match, so I don't know how it kind of went down. I know Rusev won by submission. But all I will say is thank God. But I feel like this is going to be a very short title run because a certain man known as Cena is going to be back next week for Memorial Day, which fits in with Cena's gimmick. And what would be a great way to celebrate Memorial Day? By winning the United States title. So Rusev might be just a transitional champ to once again lose it to John Cena. So poor old Ruru. Poor thing. But at least the belt is off Kalisto, thank God. Alright, move on to this week's Monday Night Raw. So we kicked off with the Rollins promo, basically telling everyone he's still, still an arsehole. So I thought it was a pretty good promo, I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed it. I think he came across well. He had the crowd in the palm of his hand. Everyone wanted to cheer him, then he slowly brought it back. And he got the crowd to boo him in the end, so that's impressive. Most people would have probably just been able to still get cheered, but Rollins was able to get booed, so that was good. So kudos to him, he got the reaction that he needed. The Charlotte split from Ric Flair, obviously very interesting. I think it probably is about the right time to have Charlotte split away from Rick, and having Rick, it felt like Rick went off script by grabbing the mic and talking. I felt like that wasn't meant to happen. And then Rick crying in the ring, he cries on cue because he's always crying. So I'm sure that wasn't very hard for him to do. I thought Charlotte, look, 6 months ago I said Charlotte really needs to work on her promos. And I'm going to say right now, she has. She has definitely really, really improved. And I think she is now the best promo cutter in the women's division. Well, obviously she gets the most time, so we haven't really seen any of the other ones get much of an opportunity. But so far, from what I've seen, she is the best. She has by far leaps and bounds improved her promo ability, and she cut a good promo. She came across well. She's not as annoying as she used to be, and now she gets a lot of heat. So can't really deny it. She's getting a lot of heat, getting a lot of boos, and for that I've got to congratulate her. She's really improved, and she's done very well to be able to go from really just cutting really annoying, just like promos that are dragging on forever and just wanted to kind of change the channel, to now she's cutting interesting promos that, getting the point across well and generating a reaction from the audience. So she's doing well. Apollo Crews, we saw him. He's back. We saw Apollo Crews on Raw. It's a miracle. He's back. He's back, and he lost to Jericho. So Apollo Crews, hadn't seen him for a few weeks. He comes back, he loses. So losing to Chris Jericho, though, is not really a career killer. Let's be honest. It's not really a bad thing at all. I think Jericho winning was the right decision. If Apollo Crews beat Chris Jericho, I think that would be a bad call. I think Jericho should have won that, and I'm happy that he did. But it seems as though we might be having an Apollo Crews versus Sheamus kind of feud, so I guess I have to be happy with that, because Apollo Crews is back, and it seems as though they've said, you know what, let's just have him feud with Sheamus. Fuck it, let's do it. And at least now they have something for the guy, because I was getting worried. It was a few weeks, I'm starting to get a little bit worried for Apollo Crews. They bring him up and they've got nothing for him to do, so I'm a little bit worried for him. So I'm glad he's back on Raw, and hopefully he can make a bit of a statement, impress a few people in the back, and hopefully that might give him more of an opportunity down the line. Certainly for that US title. I think if Rusev still somehow manages to survive Cena, then Apollo Crews would be a good US champion, not going to lie. Speaking of returning, Enzo is back, and not wrestling, but he's back, I think, for at least probably a few more weeks, just kind of assisting Cass. I don't think he'll be wrestling for a while just yet, but it's good to see him back on Raw, and obviously Big Cass was certainly missing him, but obviously Colin Cassidy did pretty good by himself. He was going okay by himself, so not too bad from him at all. I think he's certainly been impressing me. He's been doing enough to kind of keep himself going without suffering too much. Obviously, when you lose your mouthpiece, it can be, you lose the catchphrases, you lose the things that really get you popular. But he was good enough to kind of keep it going and keep that brand on TV, and I think they've done a lot better for it. I think the whole Enzo thing, coming back thing, is going to help them. I think the crowd now will have a bit of sympathy for them, and it's going to cheer them a little bit more. So whilst it was a terrible, freak, accident, I think in the long run, it might actually really help them get more over with the crowd and now get more of a reaction. So I think some of these markets that were, they'll give them an applause, but now I think they might be getting a bit more of a reaction. So I think it might actually help them in the long run. The Money in the Bank qualifiers took place throughout the whole episode of Raw, which made Raw a lot more interesting. Obviously, every match had some sort of meaning towards it, which was good. Now, I watched it on the replay, so I will say that I did kind of fast forward through a lot of it. But so far, the Money in the Bank match is looking pretty good. I was surprised that Sami Zayn beat Sheamus. I was probably half expecting Sheamus to win. And, I hoped he was going to win the whole Money in the Bank. It wouldn't surprise me if they give him the belt again. But I think it kind of brings up the point that they really are kind of transitioning away from some of these old guys. Now, look at the roster from now compared to even 2012. A lot of these guys have kind of come and gone. And even these guys who were on top at the time, like Alberto Del Rio and Sheamus, their role is really diminishing quite greatly. I mean, even look at Kane and Big Show, they're not really on TV anymore. Mark Henry as well. So a lot of these old-time guys are kind of really on their way out. I think this really is a new era coming through. I think this really is a time where a lot of these established names are kind of going to be gone. And I think it wouldn't surprise me if Alberto Del Rio is gone again from the company within a year. Dolph Ziggler, I think, is probably nearly halfway on his way out as well. Sheamus, I mean, they're paying this guy $1 million plus a year for what? He gives them nothing. He has no value. So he might get a huge pay reduction, and that could even, piss him off and might send him on his way. Plus, he's getting up there in age. So it feels like there's a lot of people kind of on their way out, and we're getting a bit of a shift and transition in the roster on who's getting the pushes, who's not. And it looks as though Sheamus might finally be starting to be doing the honors a bit for some people and kind of losing a little bit more. And Del Rio's doing the same. So, yeah, I think we might be seeing some of these new guys actually get a chance instead of the same old people getting the opportunities. I think we might actually be kind of seeing a bit of a new era. I'm not going to lie. It certainly feels like that way. Look who got released. I mean, Cody Rhodes is gone, so that's another name kind of from that era gone as well. So, and Ryback as well. So it feels like a few of these guys are kind of moving on. Damien Sandow and some different names are kind of replacing them right now as well. But yeah, so the Money in the Bank, my predictions for Money in the Bank, I said earlier that was either going to be Kevin Owens or AJ Styles for me. Looks as though AJ Styles won't be in the Money in the Bank match, so it seems as though Kevin Owens is going to be my pick. I feel like a heel will win it, again, to cash in on Roman Reigns later in the year. So I feel like a heel is going to win. So I don't think Cesaro's going to win. I don't think Sami Zayn's going to win. Jericho definitely won't win. It's probably leaning towards Kevin Owens at this point. Who else is going to be in the match? I think Baron Corbin might get a spot. How many spots are left? There's I think there's only 2 left. So Corbin might get 1, and that will give us 3 heels. And how many baby faces? We've got the 2 baby faces, is that right? So we might need another baby face. So maybe a returning Cena might get a spot, or maybe a Randy Orton or someone they might give that to. Or maybe... No, they won't give one to Apollo Crews. I don't know. But another spot will get filled by someone. So yeah, so that's going to make for a pretty interesting Money in the Bank. I think it's going to be quite interesting. But also begs the question, will we see a women's Money in the Bank match? Obviously a bit of a rumour going around that there could be one this year. I think it'd be a great idea because when we see the women and the men right now, they try and proclaim that it's equal. There's a lot of equality in the WWE now. Now they're trying to establish the women on the same level as the men. But a key difference between the women and the men in the WWE is the fact that the men compete in a lot more intense, a lot more physically demanding, a lot more risky matches, such as Hell in a Cell, Steel Cage, Ladder, blah, 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 blah. All these matchups that the women don't participate in. I know there's been a women's ladder match, but that's really about it. So a Money in the Bank ladder match and showing the women, doing some risky shit, doing some, showing us, a extreme side of them might be something to really elevate the vision. I think that could be something really, really cool to see. I think there's plenty of women that could probably do it. I think it's always been a case of, in previous years when we had the whole model kind of thing, I don't think a lot of the model type women really wanted to do it, and the WWE didn't really want to run the risk of having them get hit with a chair or something and bust them open and have to get stitches or kind of ruin their image, you know what I mean? So ruin their look. But now you saw with Becky Lynch, she had a huge black eye not long ago. I don't think they're all that worried about the look so much anymore. They're more worried more towards the quality of the match and adding something different to the division. So if you ask me, I think a women's Money in the Bank match would be perfect. It'd be something exciting. A woman carrying around a briefcase, when's she going to cash in? Who the hell knows? I think it could be an element of excitement that the women's division really needs. I think it needs a kick in the stomach, and we need something different. And this could be that one thing to really kind of change the game a little bit and open up the doors for more women's matches of this nature. And I think it really could do wonders for the division. I really do. John Cena back next week, so like I said a little earlier, I think he could be back to take Rusev's title away. The plans for Cena going forward, if he doesn't win the US title, not involved in that at all, I definitely could see him being involved in the world title picture soon. He might have a feud with someone just because for the hell of it. Maybe he'll have a feud with Alberto Del Rio or someone like that for a few weeks and just beat him every week and just kind of do that. Will Cena be back full time? That's a bit of a question that I want to have the answer. I don't have the answer to, but I want to know. Will he be back full time, or is this kind of like a bit of a part-time kind of thing? Is he going to be working a bit of a reduced schedule, or is he back fully on the road, doing the rounds, killing himself every day? I don't know. I certainly think Cena right now is in a position where he could go part-time. Maybe he comes back for a few months and maybe he goes away for a month or two and does a movie or something like that. I think Cena's in that position where things like that could be on the table a little bit more for him. So I probably think that might be a good thing for Cena. I think Cena's a guy who, if we see him in, short 3, 4, 5 month bursts, then he leaves for a couple months and comes back, I think that could be very beneficial for him. I think that will help him remain a little bit more fresh, because I think people, when they see Cena back, on TV for a whole year straight, just dominating everyone, I think people get really tiresome of that very quickly. But if Cena comes back for some short bursts, look at Chris Jericho, for example. He leaves and he comes back, and he always comes back, and people are excited in him again. So maybe it's an option for Cena to take. I don't think he's really at that stage yet. He's only 38, 39. It's something he might need to think about in a couple of years. And certainly if his Hollywood career starts to pick up a little bit, maybe it's an option he could take. Well, that will do it for this week's edition of Raw. So we'll now get into a few other little tidbits of news this week. Now, I will say overall on Raw, before we get past it, not a bad show. Obviously, having more meaningful matches on the show really helps elevate it a little bit. And so, yeah, it's not a bad show. Cody Rhodes has asked for his release. So the big rumor is right now that, he released a statement on his, I think it was on his Twitter or something like that, that he's basically unhappy with his character. He doesn't want to be Stardust anymore. He wants to change back to Cody Rhodes, and he wanted an opportunity to prove himself at the top. He wanted to be a main event player. He wanted the opportunity to be a WWE champion. He wanted to be a champion. That's where he wanted to go. And he felt as though he was never going to get there. He felt as though that he had people in the back, not trying to help him, not caring about him, big-timing him, so he said. So it's certainly interesting. It's very cool to see that he's actually coming out and saying these types of things. I thought it was nice. I think a shoot interview from him would be very, very interesting at this point. Cody Rhodes has been in the company for over 10 years. He's had multiple opportunities. He's had a lot of really bad gimmicks that he's turned into some really good stuff. Specifically, Stardust, I think, is probably the worst of his career. I liked Cody Rhodes. I didn't love him. I always thought he was alright. Did I ever see him as a world champion? I'm not going to say that I ever did. I don't think I ever did, honestly. I thought he could win Money in the Bank and maybe cash in and win the World Heavyweight title at the time on SmackDown. I thought that might have been his only chance. Someone like Jack Swagger got the belt, for goodness sake. Could we have had one less Big Show reign at the time and give it to Cody Rhodes? I think it's, for example, if Damien Sandow never won Money in the Bank, I think they should have given it to Cody Rhodes and had Cody Rhodes win the Money in the Bank and cash in. I think that could have worked, could have been successful. So, yes, he had so many opportunities and he has so many great moments and matches, and he had a good run, and he did. But the last few years, obviously, a real letdown. Stardust was terrible. Just a cheap knockoff of Goldust, and really, he tried his hardest to make that thing work, and it just was never going to happen. And eventually, in the last probably 6 months, they've kind of given up on him. And look at his brother. His brother's getting more of a push than him. His brother, 48-year-old Goldust, is getting a better push than Cody Rhodes. So, it's a little ridiculous. But I believe he's asked for his release, but they're not giving it to him at this point, and I believe the rumor is right now that they're trying to make it as hard for him as he possibly can to get work anywhere else. And we'll talk about where potentially he could go in a moment. We're going to lead on to the next point. Adam Rose has officially asked for his release and has been granted, so he's officially gone from the WWE. Shitlist member of mine. I've never liked him, never will. Personally, Ray Lapon or whatever his name is, the guy himself, I feel sympathy for him. Obviously, a troubled home life, no doubt about that. A very difficult home life, and obviously been in some controversy the last couple of weeks as well. So I wish him all the best. I think he probably needs to spend more time at home, work on his marriage, look after his kid, kind of do that whole thing and kind of be there more often and kind of do that. I believe he lives in Florida, so my next question is, could he go to TNA, and would that be a good thing for him? Now, Bring back Cody Rhodes in the equation, and also bring in Ryback to this equation. Maybe, and also Damien Sandow. Bringing him in as well. Now, for TNA, now obviously I've been very critical, and I don't watch TNA anymore, but I'm just thinking, for TNA right now, if they could get Ryback, Cody Rhodes, Damien Sandow, and even Adam Rose. Adam Rose, whatever. I'm not a big fan of him. I don't really see any potential. I see potential in the other three. Adam Rose, I could probably do away with. Maybe Alex Riley, you put him in there instead. But for the sake of the conversation, we'll say Adam Rose. If they could get those four guys all at once, bring them in, and create like an outsider group, like a Radicals type of thing coming in, and they try and take over TNA, I actually think that would be really exciting. I would watch that. I think that could be really exciting and kind of shake up TNA. Sandow's an incredible talent. Cody Rhodes is really good, and Cody Rhodes is still in his prime. Cody Rhodes is still very young. He could go be their top guy for years. Ryback is still in his prime. Sandow's still in his prime. I mean, they could really have something here. Now, the question is, can they afford to bring them all in? I don't know. But, for someone like TNA or any company in the independents, for example, they could bring all these guys in. It could really shake their company up, and I think people would be interested in that. Now, I know they're all kind of mid-range players in the WWE, but still, these guys all had the potential to kind of move on elsewhere. I'm talking about Sandow, Rhodes, and Ryback. I think they all had the potential to be something more than just a mid-range player. So, I mean, if TNA can have Drew Galloway as their champion, I mean, for God's sake, Cody Rhodes could be the greatest of all time in that company. So, I think really TNA has a really good opportunity to kind of pounce on these guys and bring them in as a group, or just bring them all in at the same time. I think it could really shake it up. If not, Cody Rhodes would be someone who would excel in the Bullet Club, for example. I think he would be great there, and excel over in Japan. I think he would be fantastic there, as well as Ryback. Sandow probably not so much. I think Sandow would be a good fit in like a Lucha Underground, something like that. He could play a gimmick there and really do well there. But I think someone like Cody Rhodes would be best suited in Japan. Adam Rose, I think, he's probably a perfect fit for TNA, quite honestly. Living in Florida, he can kind of work TNA, be close to home, still get a paycheck, still, work, and do his thing. And I think that would be a good fit for Adam Rose. And I think it would be a good thing for TNA, Bring Adam Rose in, and who knows what he could do. It could be interesting. So it's certainly an interesting time right now for the independents, because there's a lot of new guys that I think have a lot of value that will be on the market very, very soon and available for these companies to kind of pick up. So it'd be very interesting to see where they all go. Ring of Honor, will they be able to get some? Yeah, sure. But I feel like Ring of Honor is kind of, I would put Lucha, New Japan, and TNA above them. So I don't really play Ring of Honor in the equation there. But so certainly there's a few guys that I think these companies will have their eyes on and really want to try and bring in. And I think if one of these companies can, for example, TNA especially, can bring all these guys in and kind of really shake up their show, I think that could be something really worth watching, honestly. I feel like I probably should get back into TNA, but I feel like there's no guys there that I really want to kind of watch. So if they did something like that, I think I'd definitely get back into TNA. But yeah, just food for thought anyways. But that's going to do it for the wrestling chat, and we're going to get into what I've been playing this week. So, Uncharted 4, I haven't played the campaign, but I finally put the game on, and I played some of the multiplayer, and I've got to say I'm enjoying the multiplayer. Normally I don't really get into the Uncharted multiplayer too much, but I'm digging this one. There's a few different things, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it, honestly. I feel like I'm kind of ripping it up a little bit and playing pretty well, so I've had a pretty good time in it. So the campaign, once I get this assignment done tomorrow, it could be about to be played by BrendenPlayz. I could be about to finally play Uncharted campaign and sit down and kind of sit in my chair and not get out of it for the next 3 days as I finish it. That's what I want to do. Now, will I be able to do that? I don't know. I would love to be able to do that, and I'd have a lot of fun doing that, but we'll see. So, played some Uncharted finally. I also got this new game. You might have seen some different YouTubers kind of playing it or streaming it or whatever, called YouTuber Life. I know it's a little indie game that kind of was released on Steam. I don't know when it was released, but not too long ago. Gotta say though, I watched some gameplay, and I was like, oh wow, this actually looks really good. This actually looks like it's a pretty good game. Because I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a little silly. But no, it feels like it's like The Sims and like a tycoon game, like a simulation game. You know, it feels like a lot of fun. You know, it's really fun. So if you're kind of looking for a little game, certainly if you're like me, if you're like a YouTuber, I think you really will get it and enjoy it and kind of like it. I mean, what you do is basically, you know, you buy games and you know, make videos on the games, and you can, you know, you earn money from your YouTube videos and use the money to buy better stuff, which will help you get better quality videos, which will help you get more subscribers and more views and whatever. Then you can go around partying or go to the movies or whatever and chat people up and kind of, you know, make vlogs and all that. So it's kind of like a lot of different things, and it's really cool. I really feel like it's a really well done game. So for me, it gets a thumbs up. It's a tick of approval. I haven't played it for a couple days, but I definitely want to play it again. And once I get this assignment done, like once I do everything, once I get my assignments done, I'm going to do all these different things. But definitely one I've got. Definitely one I would recommend. Probably more if you're a YouTuber than, you know, if you're not a YouTuber, you might not really care for it. But for someone like me, I feel like, you know, I'm kind of living my own life through the game. So it kind of is, it really connects well with me. So definitely one I would recommend. Doom 4, also got a chance to play that. My friend bought it for me earlier this week. I played some of the multiplayer, even the campaign. Multiplayer, not a big fan of, honestly, but the campaign, I played the first mission. Pretty fun, really chaotic, and feels like a bit of an old school kind of throwback. So definitely Doom has kind of recaptured some of its old school magic towards it, even in this new environment. It's fast, it's frantic, it's chaotic, it's awesome. Multiplayer, I'm a big multiplayer guy, but I really wasn't feeling the multiplayer at all. But I think the campaign might be worth checking out. So my recommendation would probably be wait until some price drops and kind of get it from there. I was really hoping to get Homefront 2 as well. I kind of talked about it last week. I was really hoping to get that, and unfortunately, really bad reviews. I don't think I'm going to be getting that. I know Overwatch has come out. I don't think I'm going to be getting Overwatch. I haven't really looked into it much, but I don't think it really appeals to me all that much. And I don't think there's really any more games I'm going to be getting anytime soon. So my wallet will be saved a little bit, and I can start actually finishing the games that I already own, which would be good. That's something I want to be able to do. I'm sick and tired of not finishing my games. Now, finally, I might have a chance to actually do so in the near future. And finally, Black Ops 1. Now, you might be thinking, Black Ops 1, what the But yes, Black Ops 1 on the Xbox One, the backwards compatibility is officially available for it, and I have been playing and playing and playing and playing and loving it. Great time in Black Ops 1. Lots of players, can play every game mode, having a lot of fun playing the wager matches, the sticks and stones, the gun game. Love it. Really good time, and I enjoy playing it. The only problem is the Xbox. Now, I really suck with the Xbox controller. It just doesn't feel normal to me. I'm not used to it at all, so I haven't been able to play as well. But it runs pretty well, and it's also been a good chance to get on the Xbox, and some people have been messaging me on the Xbox as well. A good chance to kind of interact with some of the fans on the Xbox as well, because I haven't really been using my Xbox too much. I played a little bit of Tomb Raider as well on the Xbox the other day as well, so I'm trying to pick a game and kind of go with it. I really want to do that, but I haven't been able to kind of commit to a game as of yet, and I think Uncharted might be the game that I might do, so I need to try and commit. My commitment sucks, so I need to try and work on that. But that's going to do it for What Is Brendan Playing. We're going to get into our questions to close out this week's show, so let's start it off. Alrighty, so the first question will come from the back of 7, who wants to know, what do you think of the first ever Asylum match? Did you like the stipulation, or did you hate it? I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. I didn't really have much of a problem with it. I thought it's basically a steel cage match where you can't exit and escape, which is fine. The added weapons to the match certainly were the main focus and the main highlight of the match, so I didn't hate it. Would I like to see it again? Maybe. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a long-standing stipulation in the WWE or anything like that, but I think it could happen again. But, yeah, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't really see it happening, but I wouldn't be opposed to it if it did. I think it was okay. It was not a bad match at all, and obviously, having a couple of cool spots doing the thumbtacks and things like that was cool. But steel cage matches, to me, just kind of feel a little bit same old, same old. I think, you know, you have the spot off the top. They don't really use the cage enough for my liking. I loved it when they would, you know, rake his face against the cage and, you know, would grab a hold of him and launch him into the cage and they bounce off of it and go into it. I like that. So I think now they don't use the cage enough for my liking, and you know, I wish they would do that. But Asylum match was okay. It gets a pass from me. I didn't really have a problem with it. Another one from the back. What are my thoughts on the Golden Truth? Am I surprised that the WWE has been building up to the creation of their team since January? Yeah, a little surprised, but I think it's been drawn out too long. Like I said last episode, they drew it out way too long, and the payoff was good. The last few weeks have been good, but I don't really see the team going that far. I don't know. I mean, Goldust potentially could be on his way out of the company with Cody Rhodes going. The thing with the WWE is that they always, you know, they're a very spiteful company, so if they don't like something that someone you're associated with, like your husband or your wife or your sibling, if they don't like what they're doing, then quite often, more often than not, it will affect you as well. So Goldust could be also on his way out, and honestly, like I said last week, it just feels like a bunch of old guys just tuning up the band again. It just feels like, why do we need to have them on the show when we have these new tag teams we can focus on? And if we are truly in the new era, then I think those R-Truth and Goldust, whilst I do like both of them, I think it might be nearly time for them to kind of, you know, go away and, you know, give it up. I just feel like they're a little bit out of place on the roster a little bit now that we have such a new influx of talent. Seeing these two guys rehash basically, you know, the Goldust and kind of Booker T type of thing, I'd rather not, you know, honestly. It's just kind of not really doing it for me, but whatever. It's, you know, it is what it is. But, yeah, it is certainly interesting that they built it up for such a long time. I mean, for out of all things that they actually decided to build towards, it was that. I have no idea. It's baffling. Roy the Boy, which of these superstars would you re-sign? Jeff Hardy or Bobby Lashley? Jeff Hardy, without a doubt. I get asked about Jeff Hardy every freaking video. Please bring him back. I had one the other day, and people were complaining at me, saying, "Oh, you brought back CM Punk. You can't bring back Jeff Hardy." And you know, I just got frustrated at it. I just didn't want to comment. It just annoyed me. But yes, I get asked about Hardy all the time, so I think definitely if Jeff Hardy came back, he would get a massive reaction and people would really get behind him, and I think he could definitely go straight back into the main event scene and have a lot of great matches there too. But I do like Bobby Lashley, I'm not going to lie, but I don't think he would really get much of an opportunity in the WWE at this point. Another one from Roy the Boy. Do I think it's a good idea that Apollo Crews' winning streak is broken? Honestly, yes. I think having a winning streak is a bad thing in this day and age. I think people kind of react negatively towards it. And if you build up a streak too long and you actually lose, it really, really hurts you. Just ask Ryback. You know, even someone like Bo Dallas actually had a bit of a winning streak going. And when he lost the streak to R-Truth, it really hurt him big time. So streaks are kind of really, really hurt you at the moment. Obviously, winning all the time is great, and it helps you get over, but I think the best thing at this point would be to get away from a streak, take a loss by Chris Jericho, a Hall of Famer, sure, and it doesn't really hurt him, so take a loss, and then you can start to kind of build him from there. So I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I don't think it really will really hurt him. This one's from Einstein Columbus, sorry. Will Seth Rollins save the WWE Universe from Roman Reigns, and who do I think will win Money in the Bank from the superstars who qualified so far? Like I said, Kevin Owens for that. But will Rollins save the WWE Universe from Reigns? No, I definitely think Reigns is going to beat Rollins. I'm not sure if it'll be clean or not, but I definitely think Reigns is the plan to be champion going forward. I think they will have a long feud, but I don't think Rollins is going to get the belt. What's this one? This is a tough one. Marouin Niano? I can't do it. It's just he wants to know. Anyways, what he wants to know: what is next for AJ Styles? Probably a feud with the club. I think that's probably on the cards. I don't see them walking away happily ever after from Styles. I definitely think they're going to do something. Or Styles will just finally, stop resisting it and actually team up and actually realize that he does need them and team up with them. Thomas Speller, what does WWE have to do to get you to play career mode? They got me to play career mode today. I feel like a series for my channel would be a good thing. I just had a look, by the way, at the poll update on my Twitter of do people want me to do a career mode series, and most people are not really leaning towards it. Only 53% now. So I'm starting to think, should I do a career mode? I don't know, but yeah, I think career mode needs a big revamp, just more storylines, and stop with the repetitive matches. You're playing too many matches without things actually happening. I think so many matches. Like, I feel like I've been playing it for 10 hours and I'm still in NXT. I'm just not getting anywhere. I'm just not progressing. It's taking far too long for interesting things to happen. You need to create either NXT really, really exciting with all these storylines and all these different cool things happening. Really, I mean, look what NBA did. They introduced it with like a whole, cinematic storyline, really crazy. Maybe WWE needs to do something like that. Really like a full-on scripted storyline to kick career mode off. Then you start to transition into this other thing where they, do what they have now. So maybe they just need to really kick career mode off strong and give me an incentive and a reason to play it. Because right now, I start playing it and it just bores me to hell. It's very, very boring, very, very repetitive, and they need to fix that. Another one from Thomas. Do I think WWE will split up the world titles anytime soon? I hope not. I really feel like there's no value in splitting up the world title. I think they've built the world title up enough to the point where, it is prestigious and you are the top guy if you have it. I think it's a good thing if you got the belt. And also the IC title's doing okay. The US title's been on the decline, but hopefully Rusev or maybe someone else can kind of bring it up a little bit more. But the IC title's certainly been elevated from where it was. Don't forget, a few years ago where it was really, really bad. And even last year, it was below the US title. Now the IC title's back in a good position, having some great matches for it, so it's exciting again. So I don't think they need a second world title. If they did a brand split, sure, second world title. But if there's no brand split, no second world title for me. Next one from Stanley on Joko. If you could take 5 guys from any era to start a wrestling company, who would you get and why? Well, number 1, I would probably pick The Rock. I mean, he has the star power and charisma, always exciting. Number 2, I would pick Shawn Michaels. Obviously, can cut a promo, can play a heel, can play a babyface really well, and can put on excellent matches. Number 3, I would pick Kurt Angle. Can do the same as Shawn and have great matches, and you can always guarantee a solid match on the card between Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle if you wanted to do it. So you can always guarantee probably 2 good matches on the card every week with those 2 guys involved. So that's always a guarantee of, really excellent quality there. Number 4, I want an attraction, a special attraction. So I want someone like The Undertaker, a big guy, has a really unique gimmick, unique look, plays that big man role, and is an excellent in-ring performer, and understands the business so well, gets it, and can really put on excellent matches for me, and can be a bit of a locker room leader as well, can kind of sort the locker room out for me as well, and also be a really special attraction for me. Now, number 5, I'm not 100% sure where I want to go with this. Do I want another good performer, or do I want another star? I mean, we could pick someone like Stone Cold, who can be a star for me, no doubt about that, or we can pick another good performer like a CM Punk, or like a Chris Jericho, a Bret Hart. That's a tough one. I think number 5 is a really, really tough one. But even like an Eddie Guerrero as well. I think number 5. I think just for... Yeah, I think you got to pick Stone Cold. I think Stone Cold, the promos, the star power, the full package. You got to pick Stone Cold. So I think that was Rock, Taker, Angle, Shawn Michaels, and Stone Cold. Let me know your list in the comments below. Let me know your list. That's a good question. Next one from Roy the Boy. Do I think Dana Brooke will get a major push? Not at the moment, I don't think so, but definitely in the future, I think I can see her getting a big push. I don't think she's anywhere near it. She's just awkward. She just... I'm not a big fan of her at all. I'm going to give her a chance, but so far, not liking what I'm seeing. It was really awkward, her interaction with Charlotte and Ric Flair. Really, really awkward. It's just not working so well for me at the moment. Oakley Tiger. Would I ever do a brand-exclusive pay-per-view on my channel? So for Universe Mode. I actually thought about this when I first started Universe Mode. I thought about doing a SmackDown-only pay-per-view and a Raw-only pay-per-view. And obviously, you'd have Raw one month, SmackDown the next month like they used to do. The reason why I never did it is because it would take too long for storylines to play out. It would take too long to get anywhere. So title matches would be few and far between. It would take too long for things to happen. And you'd be dragging it out far too long and be a little bit more repetitive and things wouldn't be as exciting. 2 pay-per-views a month would be probably too much, I would say. Unless I did one like to begin the month. Let's say I did one in week 2 and one in week 4, and kind of every 2 weeks had a pay-per-view kind of thing. That could it's tough, but it could happen. It could work. But you wouldn't be able to do it like, one day it's Raw's pay-per-view, the next it's SmackDown. You'd have to spread it out a little bit as well for your own sake. But it's something I haven't really considered ever since I began Universe Mode. Honestly, I don't think it would really work. And I think there wouldn't be enough matches for each show to kind of really warrant a pay-per-view, because you'd have to have a lot of feuds and rivalries going on, which would mean you'd have to have a lot more matches happening on the Raw and SmackDown weekly shows. So you'd probably need to take 3 matches an episode instead of 2 to be able to create enough storylines and feuds to go with it. I think a lot of people kind of feel like there's probably not enough feuds and storylines as it is now. Imagine having to try and, replicate double that, so it's tough, but I don't think it would really work out. Yeah. Next one from Thomas Speller again. What do the Usos need to do to become entertaining again? Would a heel turn help them get over again? They need something. I don't know if it's a heel turn or a gimmick change or something. A refreshener. They've been the same thing for a long time now. It's being with Reigns isn't helping them. They need something. I think a heel turn would work for them. They think they could be serious killer heels. But the thing is, those guys, they're very comedic. They're funny guys. They're very happy guys. But they don't display any of that on TV at all. I think they could be something like the New Day, not onto that level, but they could be funny. I think they could be entertaining. I think they could, be something where they are a little bit lighthearted and kind of, whatever. But they don't really go in that direction, or they haven't been able to convey that on television yet. So, I don't know. But I think they could do something like that and completely change the course of where they're, or what their characters are. But they would definitely need to do something, because I'm not going to say they're going to get shit-listed, but they are really grinding my gears. I'm getting really, really bored of them, honestly. Finally, again from Thomas, what was my problem? Well, what problem did I have with the Shining Stars using local athletes to get them over when Ryback used to do it? I didn't have a problem with them using local athletes. I had a problem with the fact that I don't know what the fuck they are. I don't know what their gimmick is. They did a vignette on Raw where they said, we had a great debut. I said who? Who had such a great debut, they're not on Raw this week. Yeah, real good. And they said, come to Puerto Rico. What is it? I don't get it. It's just, the gimmick is awful. I honestly, at this point, I am officially adding them to my shit list. The Shining Stars have officially joined the BrendenPlayz shit list. Adam Rose is gone. We need someone to join the shit list to replace them. Well, guess what? We've got 2 guys this week joining the shit list. The Shining Stars, Epico and Primo. Welcome. You are officially on the shit list, because I cannot stand them anymore. I am done. Santino's gone. Adam Rose is gone. We need some replacements here. We've got 2. We've got 2 guys to join Sheamus. Wade Barrett's gone as well, so we need some replacements. So definitely Sheamus is all alone right now. He's the only one on my shit list. So the Shining Stars will join Sheamus on the list because they suck. They need to go. They should be fired, gone. They've had so many chances. They have nothing to offer. They suck. That's just all there is. The gimmick sucks. They're not good promos. They're average in the ring. Get rid of them. You know, how many times we give them a chance? I mean, surely we can start to focus on some different tag teams. I mean, please. Surely. Do something. They've just had enough. Had enough. And I've had enough of the show today. No, I haven't really. But that will do it for this week's edition of the Let's Talk Tuesdays podcast. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like on the YouTube video. Leave a love heart, or tell a friend, or retweet it, or share it around. Do whatever you're going to do on every other social media platform to share the show, support the show. Would really appreciate that. Let me know all your opinions on the show in the comment section down below. I do read all of your comments. Do not forget to leave without leaving a comment, and do not forget to leave without leaving a like on this episode. Subscribe to see more if you haven't already. I'm sure you've all subscribed by now. Please, you're an hour and 10 minutes into the podcast. You have subscribed by now. But I wanted to say thank you again. I know the podcast, the views have been a little bit down on the podcast, but all those who continue to support the show, keep listening in every single week. Thank you very much. You guys are freaking awesome. Really got to say a big thank you. And so thank you very much for supporting the show. And definitely we're going to do something in the future to kind of give back and say thanks. Whether it's a Let's Talk Tuesdays podcast giveaway. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that soon. We'll do a Let's Talk Tuesdays podcast giveaway. We should have done that for episode 100, didn't we? We missed an opportunity there. But in the future, we'll do something like that. But anyways, hope you all have a great week, and I'm looking forward to my week to come. It's going to be very good. A bit of a week off for me. So we're going to get out to some great gaming stuff. Keep an eye out on my Twitch. I'll definitely be streaming this weekend, no doubt about that. So keep an eye out for that. Also on my YouTube, that's right. I'm going to be streaming on YouTube as well. So hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you all next Tuesday.